手置きを見せてやる。
Alright, so in this one we're going to be going over the top 10 most meta-defining units in Dragon Ball Legends history. Two things before we do begin. One, if you are new and enjoy the content, pass this, post this, feel free to subscribe as we are attempting to hit 15,000 subscribers for anniversary does end. And two, if you do need the QR codes for the shout-out wishes, or if you want just to join a Discord server, mine will be in the description down below. Feel free to join as welcoming new members and all members. Yeah, feel free to join and be a part of it. Well, to begin this, we're going to go from 10 to 1, because that's actually a smart way to do a tier list, right? And I feel like it's actually harder at the bottom. Again, this is the most meta-defining unit, so you know how Super Vegito, when he came out, okay, it was 8 months of Super Vegito, or a year, whatever it was, of him being #1 unit in the game. FSK, when he's Zenkai, okay, it's this long of him being this unit in the game, and etc, etc, etc. I do feel like some of these will be a little more niche, to where not everyone actually had to deal with it, similar to an aspect of thinking of like Beerus here. Like, Beerus was #1 on a Zenkai, right? Beerus was that guy. It's just that, like, 100 people in the world had Beerus Zenkai 7, because people didn't have him 7 stars, and, well, no one was wasting 30k, using, was not a waste back then, using 30k CC to Zenkai 7 Beerus. So it was like, and the resources, oh my god, getting Zenkai souls on their first release of Zenkais, you had to do like, dude, you had to do the most. It literally took you like months to get like soul boosted units of Zenkais. Now it's like, USTR, boom, I'm done. But back then, they did Zenkais well, and a lot of these here, you could tell, like, hey, initial release of these guys, they definitely didn't make it, but maybe with Zenkai, oh, they made it. Obviously, there will be honorable mentions at the end here, but there's a lot of options. Again, the top 5 are probably set in stone concrete. I think #1 is very concrete. You could argue maybe #1 and #2 can swap, but the bottom, like, 6, I'm like, right now trying to think of who to put #10. I'm struggling, because I didn't even play against some of these units during the meta. The Holy Trinity with Purple Broly. You have Goku on his release. I think he was with Bardock. You would run him. Green Bardock, even if you were on this list, he was that lock, and he was so oppressive. Green Goten, I believe, was very oppressive. They built a whole equip against him. Blue Pan, I think there was like the key recovery was so high you could sidestep and then always get enough key back for a strike. Like, it was insane. Then you look at, like, Vegito Blue, like, the obvious ones who have obvious reigns. It's like, how do you even, like, differentiate these guys? But I'm going to try this. At the end will be the concrete list, but I will try to make this through and through, right? Again, the most meta-defining units. Just because they were annoying doesn't mean they were meta-defining. Some units here are, just annoying, and not really meta-defining, but their team they were run on, it was just annoying as hell. The first one, I'm thinking about it. I'm really trying to put this together in my head. I'm thinking it is Red Bardock. I don't think he was as broken as some of these others here. Red Bardock, when he did come out, he was a pretty sizable menace. I mean, this guy, last man standing, it's kind of how it is, or how it was, rather, I guess you could say, with, like, what's a comparable thing? Let's say Vegito Blue to Vegito Blue. It was whoever lands that next combo wins, and it would be Red Bardock versus Red Bardocks. Whoever is landing that next combo is winning. Doesn't matter if you had a blue unit. Doesn't matter if you had a yellow unit. Doesn't matter what unit you had in the game. It would be Red Bardock showdowns, and that was for a little bit of time. And obviously, the time span of how long they lasted definitely will affect this. Obviously, the longer you lasted, the more meta-defining you are, right? Bardock didn't last too long, but when it was Saiyan Saga Goku, Feet Coup, Kid Goku Zenkai, who was right here, who was the best unit in the game on his Zenkai, by the way, then Red Bardock, you would have Red Bardock showcases, and it was just, you win this next altercation against any unit in the game, Red Bardock is clutching that out easily, folding anything. Again, just to say, I did not play prior to first anniversary. These other first anniversary prior to it, I do not have, like, personal experience with, but I have seen videos, I've, watched other YouTubers use them in the past, back before I even played. But Red Bardock, had experience with them. This guy, dude, it was just 1v1 matchups to the end, and it was just, you know what, if you got enough support from your Feet Coup, because he did, I believe, support 3 times, in and out, in and out, in and out, very build support for yourself, and whoever landed that next combo on Bardock, I mean, you were going. Bardock was, once upon a time, a menace, and maybe not #1 unit, but, dude, he was probably like a top 10 unit, and his own self-individual reign was like, I mean, it was beyond anything we could even control at that time. You cannot do anything to beat Red Bardock unless you were using Red Bardock to counter Red Bardock or kill them early, but You had Kid Goku with Endurance. You have Fiku who wants to die anyways. Like, you had these units that were already, like, able to die, and such combo extension with Kid Goku having, card draw speed, infinite damage because he's a Zenkai god at that point, and then Fiku who's just supporting in and out, getting lower sub count on green card, I believe. You couldn't really let Bardock die. Like, you wouldn't even bring him in until it was time to have Bardock transform and just Bardock things. Like, Bardocks sometimes are menaces, Rip LF Bardock, but Red Bardock, this guy, he was petrifying to play against. Like, blue units were not safe. Similar to red units weren't safe for Vegito Blue. I think it's a very easy comparison because everyone played against Vegito Blue, feels like, right? Blue units were not safe. There's units here that countered every color, but blues were not even safe. That means he countered everything, by the way, because if advantage is not safe, how are you going to get through? Next one, I'm trying to find the fine line between meta-defining and tedious as hell, because there's definitely a fine line. I do want to say two units kind of go together, because they ran together. Bojack and Yellow Movie Gohan, that setup of, if you guys don't remember somehow, it was Bojack, Yellow Movie Gohan, and a Transformer Vegeta. Transformer Vegeta wasn't that bad, he was just a very good damage dealer. They didn't actually synergize amazingly, it's just they all were very good and in their own aspects. Bojack more than Gohan, just because Bojack, he was made to be counted out in the future. Because Bojack existed, he has full cover change against a Strike, a Blue, an Ultimate, a Blast. Everything in the entire game, he had cover change. If Green Broly did a Strike and then comboed into a barrier somehow, he could have cover changed it. Like, he cover changed everything, and there was no cover change nullification back then. This didn't exist. You had to learn to drop combos, or you were losing the game. Straight up, that's it. And then why Movie Gohan ties into this, firstly, you would run them together, and then secondly, lock-in. Any unit that has a lock-in is super oppressive. Bardock has the same exact thing, to where you can't control the pace of the match. There is no outlook in this where you're like, you know what, okay, this is my turn to play, this is my turn to go. No, because you get locked in the wrong unit, lose the unit, then the next thing happens, you get rushed. It's a 1v3. Good luck. You're not going to win that because these units are still very good, even without those abilities, because, okay, lock-in's done. I have Bojack who's going to infinite cover change. Giving does hurt your unit that's getting cover changed out. Doesn't matter. Who the hell cares? You'll die in the next combo from Bojack because you got a cover change off. And that cover change, by the way, could combo into a blue card. Right? Yeah, we don't have any of those nowadays. They are terrified to do that. But Bojack into Gohan was a very annoying meta. Vegito Blue was made to counter out Bojack from cover changing. Because Vegito Blue, what he does right now, and we'll see it on Zenkai, Vegito Blue nullifies special cover change on ultimate 3-timer count. So you pop that ultimate, you would run into purple Bojack still. People would still try to swap in because they'd be like, oh, I forgot Vegito Blue null special cover change, because no other unit was nullifying special cover change at this point. Reminder of this, nobody was nullifying special cover change. Vegito Blue did, and he helped end that reign. He started his own reign. That's a different issue we have, but he helped end that reign, but it took months to months to months. This was a long-lasting meta. It's just that these other units around were so much more impressive individually, but these two together, oh man. This situation? Oh, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to quit the game when these two ran together. The next one, now this unit I could probably have high. Honestly, I could really have this guy higher. I'm gonna say, I want to say Beerus, but Beerus was literally #1. It's just that you never ran into him. I feel like if you run into the unit, that makes him more meta-defining. Beerus was so uncommon. Like, I remember running into Beerus and getting Purple God Goku, who was like 6 stars or 7 stars, just one combo by a Beerus on all blasts. Like, with the Wii swap out, Beerus comes in, I'm 4-card dead. Like, that's how the game was. But Beerus was #1, hands down. It's just that you never saw him. I feel like he's... Yeah, he has to be lower. If you can't see the unit, it's not as meta-defining. Obviously, again, Beerus was the best unit in the game on his Zenkai. No, like, ifs, ands, or buts. But you couldn't see him as much. When you did see him, like, you lost the match. Genuinely, if you saw this Beerus Zenkai 7, the match was over. You couldn't play the game. There was no, you couldn't win. Like, unless... I remember rushing or seeing somebody, a video, at either one of these two. But I remember a rush happened to Beerus where he was disadvantaged. So it was a purple. I think it was actually Purple God Goku. And he rushed, and Beerus lived it. Yeah, Beerus, the green. Yeah. I know Purple God Goku's defense type, but he had, like, I think damage inflicted buildup because it's per the arts done against him or arts done against his allies, whatever it is. He had damage inflicted buildup. Beerus lived it. Given not too much HP, like 1 million left over, which is a lot, he lived it. Beerus was the #1 unit in the game. It's just that you didn't see him as much. But hell was there. When you ran into Beerus, you were in hell. You honestly should just forfeit instantly because there was no way you would win against LF Beerus on his initial Zenkai. And now he's a meme, one of the worst LFs in the game. But hey, at one point, some of these units were just on a level. But another one here, and we will be seeing Zenkai's rather shortly, Blue Cooler. Blue Cooler was during the first Golden Showdown, I do believe. It's not that necessarily his team was broken, but it was Cooler. Cooler was the guy who was 1v3ing. I believe movies was still a thing to where you would run into that Bojack and go on setup, but you would, dude, you drop combo, I know you had to learn how to drop combo and like do all these things perfectly, but you drop combo, you are 2-carding, you're debuffing the hell out of them, you're fucking over health restore, so they're losing even more HP, they can't get any of it back on any type of situation for themselves. And you have Cooler literally just soloing entire teams. He was probably a top 3 unit individually on release. He was so oppressive with his blast armor, with the green card he could spawn in to make, I believe he made strikes off his green card. I haven't used the guy in so long, but he was individually like soloing everything, not as highly as Beerus, but more common, because again, this was a unit you would see more often. Cooler is a Zenkai you can actually have 7 stars, have him be able to do all this stuff for, given I think he did cost more, or he was just about to start costing the 7k CC threshold, but regardless, he was one you were running into a lot. Golden Showdown was pain beyond belief for the 3 weeks he was being run there. Again, not as long as the others, but individually he was just doing it all. Like, there was no contestation to Cooler. Again, these were units that you couldn't really fight against. It was just, they existed, good luck, have fun dealing with it. Like, you couldn't deal with it, right? Number 6. Okay. I think it's Android 18, and honestly people might say Android 18 is like top 3. The reason I say number 6 for Android 18 is because FSK did exist when 18 did exist, but to also extend on her, it's just that 18, she made every purple unit in the game irrelevant. She made greens, blues, reds, every other unit but FSK was irrelevant. So it was FSK and 18. Obviously, if you ran up against FSK when you were using 18, no shit, you're gonna get fucked up, but FSK is very high on this list as well. 18, I remember her doing 4 strikes, and it would 1-combo my FSK. I remember that happening to me. I was like, oh. She would individually solo team. She made, red units irrelevant. She made every unit in the game besides FSK feel irrelevant and lackluster. Like, Vegito Blue's era didn't even feel like anything. Obviously, it was very long, and his era was, like, more defining because there was no, double, triple switches, all that stuff, but it felt like his damage output and his era of damage was nothing to 18, 2, 3, 4 carding these red units with big cover cuts, with, defense types. Like, dude, I don't have her Zenkai 7 because of how annoyingly broken and how brain dead she was. That's how bad, like, FSK have Zenkai 7. I thought he was the, more annoying one, but I did him out of, like, my own self-pity to where I need to win some matches for free. Let me get FSK done, right? 18, never. She was so annoyingly broken, I was like, I can't even bring myself to do this. Right now, she's Zenkai 1 for me. She was the most brain-dead Zenkai in the entire game. Easily. Because at least Beerus, okay, you have to run with Whis. I know, that's not a big prerequisite, because Whis honestly wasn't even that terrible of a EX at that time. Cooler. Sure, you have Blast Armor, you kind of have to think with it. 18, click strike, click strike, click strike, click strike, make more strikes, get triple card draw, quadruple card draw, click strike, click strike, click strike. If FSK didn't exist, she'd probably be top 3 on this list, but thankfully, yeah. Gracefully, I guess, FSK did exist to where she was not there, but she's the one that gives me the most heartache to think about here, because, oh man. But the top 5, I do think top 5 is pretty easy. Just touch on units that maybe you might think could have made it so far and probably won't be making it. Bardock, I feel like Bardock definitely had a spot to make it, but I'm thinking the individualistic units, just again, individually here, except maybe that number 9 spot, but usually more individualized. It's just that these units were soloing by themselves. Bardock, he was running with somebody else, so that did devalue himself, but Bardock still had a lot of value. Goku, I would say his value was still high up, but it wasn't like it was annoying. He was more annoying than amazing, if that makes more sense. It's, again, kind of a mix, where these units are very annoying, but they're not actually amazing beyond belief. Kid Goku's kind of similar realm to Bardock, to where you ran Kid Goku, he was number 1, but he was number 1 to help other units to also be as high up to individually be better. Like, Kid Goku was running with Bardock, Red Bardock, and then Feet Goku, the Saiyan Saga Goku. So you were running that setup, and that's what made Bardock be able to 1v3, because you had such a number 1 free-to-play unit right there. That's what allowed that situation to happen. It wasn't necessarily that Kid Goku broke the entire game, given he broke everyone's mind because he was a free-to-play unit, being number 1 unit in the game for weeks, but he was allowing others to be number 1, i.e. Bardock being like a top 3 unit from that circumstance, right? So a little bit of units there that probably won't make it is like It Goku, Super Saiyan Bardock, and then, you know, now we will continue. I think another one, maybe Cell, couldn't make it. Cell definitely was very good, but was he the one doing everything, being God beyond belief? He wasn't being the most overpowered unit. He was very good, but was he like that? No, he wasn't that. Like, he was close, though. He was definitely close. Number 5, I personally never had experience with this, but I do want to say Purple Broly. That Holy Trinity setup, again, this does go back to the idea of Bardock, but it is Broly. Broly was, it was just an amplification for Broly. He didn't need Holy Trinity. Obviously, you know, Super Saiyan buffing a Super Saiyan, no shit, you're going to get a lot more damage. But Broly, having the neutral that he does have, having the insane HP he had on release, the insane damage, the insane everything, this guy would easily 1v3. If you were losing in a match, I mean, you did not lose until this guy was dead. It's kind of like how the androids are right now, I guess, where, like, if you're losing, you ain't lost until the match is over. Like, there's a lot of units, like, let's say, I don't know, who's a very good unit that you lose even if, like, you still had them alive? Like, honestly, MUI. MUI, you probably lose the match if they have at least a blue unit, and or at least 3 units in general, one of the 2 situations, and MUI just can't 1v3 that, right? It's just not more likely than anything else. Like, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, the Zenkai can't do it. Some units can, like GV, Ultra Kaioken, maybe USG, if you have good lock-ins still ready to go, but in a reality, it's not that many units that can do it. This Broly, again, I didn't experience playing with this, but I remember watching videos. I think it was like D3. I think this Broly had like, what was it, 2 million HP? And you weren't level 5,000 and shit back then. You were lower level, but this Broly had so much HP. And I remember him like 2-carding yellows, and it was like, oh, like, this is happening, huh? Like, he was omnipotent on release. This movie collab unit, guys. Reminder, it's a movie collab unit. You know, God Vegeta existed, and he wasn't very good on release. But Broly also exists, the big bad villain. Movie collab unit. We're about to get that. Wish us luck, because if we got something like Purple Broly back in the day, nowadays, you think the androids are bad. Imagine a Purple Broly in today's meta. Woo! You know, no tag mechanic, just Purple Broly in today's meta. People would quit. People would abandon this game. A lot of people that have been playing for a long time. It was a petrifying moment. But to continue here, number 4, I guess I have to group these, huh? Oh wait, wait, Namek Goku's not. Sweet, I meant to add Namek Goku on this list. No. Okay, well. Shit. Okay, I'll use... Okay, I forgot. Oh, shit. I'll cut. Alright, we fixed it here and added Mr. Namek Goku down there, as you can see, but the top 4, I think these are all pretty reasonable and pretty actually easy to pick. Just to go through the units that haven't made it so far, with Bardock, IT Goku, Kid Ku definitely won't make it up here. Cell was an amazing unit, but it's just, again, some of these units were just amplifiers, right? IT Goku was definitely annoying. Kid Goku was the best individual unit in the game, but again, we went over the concept of that. Bardock amplified as well. That's why Broly was so high up. And then, Kid Goku, again, that whole premise, right? Cell, amazing unit. Amazing, amazing. Not trying to downplay him, just was not as meta-defining as these others. But number 4 will be Vegito Blue. Honestly, the top 3, again, I think are very obvious. Maybe number 1 and 2 can't be swapped, but Vegito Blue did come at a time where he lasted for, 8 months, 9 months? He lasted shorter than Super Vegito, but he did last long. He came before the triple, quadruple, whatever, multiple switches, I guess you'd call it, came out, so where He lasted until that happened. Boom, these units came out. I think it was Vados and Champa that came out, but whoever came out, and then that update happened, causing Vegito Blue to make an update happen to basically nerf him. He just reigned supreme. You do strikes, you do infinite strikes. Let's say you get coverage changed by, Merz because he was running around. You ran Vegito Blue, Rage Trunks, Merz Zamasu, then, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta comes out. Okay, well, you run Super Saiyan Blue Vegito Blue, so he gets amped from that, and then whoever else, right? You just ran Vegito Blue as your main damage dealer, infinite combo, infinite, Dragon Balls, infinite rush. Literally anything in the world Vegito Blue was just allowed to do for a solid, 8-9 months, I believe, his reign supreme, and he might come back with the Zenkai appearing in a few days. I think it will be this week, by the way. He might reign supreme again, but he did reign for a very long time. I think it was longer than Broly. I actually do think it was longer than Broly. 18 again was held back on her reign because just of how FSK was already existent. Blue Cooler only had it for a little while. It's just that he was individually doing it. And then Beerus, I think his actually lasted a pretty decent while, but it's just that, again, it was so uncommon to see Beerus like this. Beerus did help shut down Vegito Blue. It's just that you were so uncommonly seeing him. I can't consider his reign an actual reign of terror because he wasn't as common. Like, Vegito Blue, you had a 2 or 3 star Vegito Blue. I remember I pulled him after like 80, 90k CC because there's no pity back then. And I ran 2, 3 star Vegito Blue, and I was like, oh, I win every single match in the entire game, which it was just that brain dead easy. Just spam strike arts again. Android 18 mechanic, but you sidestepped instead. Woo, spooky, right? The next one here will be Super Vegito. Again, the same exact premise where the anniversary unit was the #1 unit in the entire game for a good while. I think Super Vegito's reign was actually a year long. Super Vegito was just run everywhere. It didn't matter if this yellow came out, didn't matter if this came out. Honestly, they didn't try to counter Super Vegito. Vegito Blue, in the same realm, they didn't really try to counter him out with units dropping along after him. Like, sure, he eventually did get screwed by like Green Goku Black and units like that, but he didn't get attempted to get countered out. Super Vegito kind of had the same thing where I don't remember any yellow unit coming that really stopped his reign until this yellow movie Gohan. It was like, okay, that's the guy. He's gonna lock Super Vegito in. He's gonna destroy him, and then that's it. No more. But Super Vegito had that reign where you had Red Vegito, free Red Vegito, Transforming Gogeta, still very good on release, and then Super Vegito, Blue, Red, Purple. That lock in, Super Vegito's infinite damaging you, infinite comboing you, getting his cards back, getting his main ability to where he's going to one combo anybody the entire game because he's stacking up his damage and going and going and going and going, and there was no stopping this guy. He was just an unstoppable force to where he was the, if not best unit for a year straight, he was a top 3 unit for a year straight. This guy was that. That's kind of why we do have this, I mean, me at least, I have this idea where anniversary units should at least be top 5 units because the first year anniversary, #1. Second year anniversary, #1. Third year, G4 was a fucking joke, comparably. And then CMZ was very good. Always stay consistently good. Then MUI is like a top 3 unit. It's like, alright, good stuff. We kind of brought it back. Because again, last year was complete shit on these anniversary units in comparison to first and second and even fourth year, right? Again, good thing they brought it back, but we don't want 1 year reigning of a unit specifically. We want a lot of time reigning, but we don't want a 1 year reign. I do want the anniversary unit to be, beyond belief, maybe even possibly a little bit broken, a little bit. We don't want Vegito Blue and Super Vegitos. We don't want that. And then, just to say, there is 2 more, and one was after anniversary, and one was right before. But I do think FSK is #2 in the most meta-defining units. Yes, I know, the PTSD that this guy gave every Legends player for a long while, even after a million blue units came out, a million counters came out, a million everything came out. Didn't matter. Even today, FSK is still pretty damn good individually. But obviously on his Zenkai, FSK was the best unit. It didn't matter. You didn't care. You could play blindfolded and you have FSK in a situation. It didn't matter anything at all. Just slap him on a team. Obviously a better team for him. Doesn't even matter, honestly. Just slap him on a team, maybe a Goku. Just get his ultimate damage up, right? You're 1v3ing with this guy doing maximum 15 cards in a 1v3. If you have him on a real setup that's really for him, he could, I'm pretty sure he would 1 blast starts type neutral units on his initial release. This unit was individually the most broken unit in the entire game except for one, and with this being #2, I think #1's pretty obvious, but just to exclude the others here, Fat Boo. Fat Boo definitely was good and amazing and annoying. Alright, that's the word, right? Annoying. Fat Boo had the annoying lock-in, and you had regen where there was Super Baby 2. Fat Boo had recently Zenkai, and then Miss Purple 21, who dropped, and it was the best unit in the game. But with 21 being best unit in the game, it's just that it was a more annoying meta where it was double rushing double rushing regen matchups where it was just, okay, stall out to 0. I don't think that's meta defining. I think it's annoying as hell. I think it is the worst type of playstyle and meta we could encounter. But did it change that meta? Did this one, 21 change the meta? Did Fat Boo change the meta? No, it was this whole threshold of units, right? Where Bojack and Gohan, it was kind of individually both of them, but together they were like it. With this thing, it was kind of like, okay, they're just annoying as fuck to deal with, and I had to deal with them individually annoyingly. That's where Fat Boo and 21 kind of fall there. And then Riku obviously does not make it here because while Green Green Yellow was the most recent annoying cancer, we did have Gogeta 4, I can't speak. Gogeta 4 definitely did hold the crown on it, doing everything after his plot equip did come out. So Riku definitely was helped out by that. On top of Halo, he needed help around him to do what Riku was doing, which was being annoying as fuck and stalling out matches similar to regen matches. But number one, I mean, he did change gameplay mechanic in this game for sure. Namek Goku. I know Vegito Blue did cause an update to where, okay, you can multiple swap out, especially after you swap after once, because we're getting infinite combo. You need cover change, you need like go disruption, you need all these other type of units to come out. But Namek Goku, this was meant for him. Like, this update was not planned. I 100% know this, that Namek Goku stopped backfloating. They allowed backfloating to where you didn't lose Vanish, you didn't lose Ki, you didn't lose anything. There was no negative to backfloating the entire game. Namek Goku dropped, update comes out, backfloating reduces your Ki, reduces your Vanish. You can't backflow anymore because of Namek damn Goku, which is hilarious because Super Vegito came out, number 3 right there. Namek Goku came out, number 1 right there. Prior to, we had Purple Broly. First year was fucking hell for players that played back then. Just look at this. Namek and Super Vegito so close together. And it's like, how the hell were you dealing with this? Because it was just Namek number 1 or Super Vegito number 1, vice versa. How the fuck do you deal with this shit? I'm glad I remember it because that must have been hell. That must have been hell. Namek Goku literally made an update happen. Again, you can't be more meta-defining than making a game change happen to the entire game. Obviously, it's with this counter to where you would just backflow and do nothing, and just, they try to implement a million different ways. They try to implement tackle to where, okay, you could tackle, but it won't do the effect it does now. Or they implemented, I think, a different type of tackle to where it had a similar effect, but it was just a, more, over-exaggerate. I think you would tackle step, right? I think you would sidestep, tackle into a strike, sidestep, tackle into a strike, and then with that you could sidestep out of it if you were going to get caught on that sidestep, and then you couldn't really go from there, or you could just reset the combo because you were always in an advantage. If you actually just tackle step, I think it was called, you would just keep going and going and going, and then they realized, well, this isn't helping Namek Goku, this isn't hurting Namek Goku, it's not helping him, it's just making him more annoying than anything else. So backfloating, you ain't doing that shit anymore. You cannot, even to this day, you can't backfloat and be like, alright, I can sit back and just keep hovering back, holding back on your phone, and being like, you know what, I ain't gonna play, because now you lose Ki, you lose Vanish. That guy, number 1 right there, he is the culprit for this, but yeah, that was such painfulness. I'm glad I didn't play during Purple Broly, man. I'm glad I didn't see a lot of Beeruses as well. Oh my god, those were pain. Remember, coolers were annoying. All of these, right? All of these were annoying. Obviously, FSK is the most PTSD one that's in our head because while Green Green Yellow was very annoying, it wasn't like FSK doing FSK things. You know what I mean? We still know what FSK can do. He still has high outputs. It's just that he's not ideal right now is all. He can still be in a high tier spot of a unit. It's just he's not ideal, but it's kind of terrifying that Vegito Blue might go back to this little reign here. I don't think he'll be meta defining to where we're gonna change everything up because we still have lock-in Zenkai Vegeta to work out. Obviously the green one, not the shitty purple one, the green one that could obviously beat out Vegito Blue, but Vegito Blue did go for quite a long time, and even when their greens were out, it took a minute. A fucking minute to beat this guy. But Well, let me know what you guys think. Just to touch on it real quick and go over it. Namek Goku, #1 most meta-defining unit in the entire game. Yes. FSK #2, definitely. Super Vegito #3, yes. One most long-range unit in the meta as a top-tier unit. Vegito Blue, similar story, just a little bit shorter reign. Purple Broly, yes, yes. Android 18, she was the only other unit you would see around with FSK. It was either FSK or 18 you were running into. Both equally as annoying. Obviously, FSK was a lot better, but both equally as annoying. Blue Cooler. Blue Cooler. Oh, those blast armors on every single blast I ever done, and just 3-carding my, well, neutral units. Thank you, Blue Cooler. Beerus. If he were more seen, man. If he were more seen, he probably would have been higher than, like, Purple Broly, honestly, because, dude. He was disadvantaged. He didn't go neutral anywhere. He just didn't give a singular fuck. He didn't give a singular fuck about anything for so long. It was treacherous, man. Purple Bojack and Gohan. Obviously, again, you run that pair together, but it was Bojack individually with that cover change forever. No one was nullifying special cover change back then. Gohan with the lock-in. That pairing was just unrealistically broken beyond belief for months and months and months. And he just ran to whoever third, honestly. You could just slap on a hero unit. You just had these two. It didn't matter. You win the match. And Red Bardock, where it was just a 1v1. Red Bardock's the entire time Red Bardock was ever used. And that shit just... Oh, man. You were playing a bigger coin flip than Legends already is when Red Bardock was meta and Red Bardock was run alongside these very good Saiyan units. But let me know what you guys think of my top 10 meta-defining units. I'm pretty pleased with this. Again, some of these I might be a little bit hazy on, like Purple Broly, and he might even be higher for some people, but personally here, from my experience from year 1 to year 4 now, again, I didn't really run into Purple Broly at all, so I didn't really know his entire value, but these others, definitely ran into them, and dealt with them, and had my fair share of the PTSD from them, but let me know what you guys think of it. I'm pretty content with this, at least the top 4, if not the top 8. Maybe Red Bardock could be replaced by somebody, but I just think everyone else was more annoying than actually meta-changing. Meta-defining, meta-changing. Same thing, right? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.